Hello, encouragers. I'm Rebecca Scott, wife, mother of 4, author, and owner and designer of Rebecca Scott Designs. I'm here to encourage you, to make you feel the I can do this spirit each and every day of our awesome journeys to fulfill those many important roles. I believe we are fully equipped to execute, and I will provide you with as much knowledge and practices and systems as I can to help you understand just what I know you can do. Execute. We got this. Hello, encouragers. On today's podcast, I want to talk about the power of a tally mark. You know that I've been telling you I would record this podcast, and I'm looking forward to it as I had to reflect on where the tally mark really started for me and why I think it's such a positive encourager for you and your business or even your family, whichever you choose to relate this to. The power of a tally mark will make a large difference in your life. So you know by now how I feel about this little tiny action step of making a tally mark. There is something so good about making that little mark, and even the slash mark will send me singing. Like Sarah and I, when we're at an art show, that's my twin sister, we argue over who gets to make the slash mark. Like if it's a slash mark, I'm like, yes, because it's just a whole unit, it's 5 of them. I love a tally mark. It really started for me when I found myself getting discouraged at the show. So I go to art shows with my business, Rebecca Scott Designs. And in the beginning, I would get kind of discouraged because I wasn't able to do anything, in air quotations here. I wasn't able to do anything at the shows other than, dress the part, look the part, show them the purses, but I wasn't doing. And I am so used to being a maker and doing that it kind of got underneath my skin. So I thought, okay, tallying really gave me something to focus on and something to do, because the peopling part at that time was not really one of my strengths. So I started passing the time by making tally marks of different things. Then I would start to feel momentum on those things. And I actually didn't know it at the time, was by creating a data system for myself and what was working. And that I could definitely learn from and then grow from these different tally marks and what I was learning as I collected this data. So a tally mark allows your brain and your subconscious to see progress. You make a slash on anything and kids automatically know what is going on. It's progress. They're like, ooh, let's do another one, so they can make another tick mark. It's not rocket science. It's just the simplest form of encouragement. So in the beginning, I tallied the business cards that I handed out rather than the purses, because it was like a slower show, or I wasn't well known, or all of the things. I just started thinking, I'm going to tally how many business cards I hand out. And then I made it even one more level where when I handed them a business card, it wasn't like, oh, here's my business card and then shooing them away. I would show them where on my business card my website was, so that there was some eye contact, there was some touch exchange, and there was a little bit more memorable exchange happening than just giving them a business card. And then I also learned later to put a place on the business card that I could write. So I could say, oh, did you want me to write down a certain style? Were you liking something? So there's even a deeper connection being made, and not just the simple thing of handing a card over, but rather a touch involved, eyesight, eye contact involved, and then also a memory thing of them going, oh yeah, here was where her website was on the business card. So I would tally as many business cards as I could hand out. I did a show with no sales, but I had 50 tally marks for business cards. So let me ask you, do you think I walked away discouraged? Maybe a little, but not near as much as I would have if I didn't make the tally marks, because I looked down and I had 50 tally marks for business cards. That was a huge amount of connections and possible sales and just plain old maybes. That was encouraging to me. So I have even tallied emails. Now, hang with me, because I'm sure you're thinking I am not going to be tallying how many emails I send out in a day. These are certain emails, because it will help you to know where you're spending your most time on. So let's say you start tallying any email that was a potential sale, like you reached out to a client, you reached out to a customer for a possible ask or a possible sale. I want you to tally it. Then you also know where you're spending your most time at. I tally purse and accessory sales every day. Every time an order confirmation comes in, I tally whether it is a purse or an accessory, and then I can tell which purses are selling the most, which accessories are taking off, or which ones haven't moved in weeks. I also tally which ones are ready to ship and which ones were design your own. Now, these are great metrics for me personally and my business, but they help me measure how to move forward with things or change things because they haven't sold for a while. It takes very little time, but it educates me and encourages me every single time. So those are examples of my product-based business, but what tally marks could you make that would encourage you and allow you to learn more about your everyday and where you are spending your time and energy? Hey, Encouragers, we have the new website, theencouragerpodcast.com. You got to go over there and check it out. The book is there. My journal is there. When to sign up for the master course. They always start in Januaries. And also the resources tab, which involves any PDFs that we've said previously on the podcast. So if you've listened to old episodes and you would like the spousal business meeting PDF, it's there. If you would like the bucket list PDF, it's there. So be sure to check out the resources tab on the website and also the store, which involves the book, the journal, and when the next master course is opening up. So I've come up with a few examples of what you could tally to feel encouraged and to educate yourself in the cheapest way possible. You can tally sales and which product. This educates you on what is a good seller. You could tally how many business cards you hand out at a trade show or a show. And you know what I said? Do not just hand out the business card. Make sure there's something like an area on the business card where you could write something down that they were asking on the question, or write the product down that they liked, but have a little bit more than just handing out a business card. I do not want you to hand out 100 business cards just so you can tally that without making a further relationship with that business card. Okay, so that one comes with the disclaimer. You have to at least have something memorable with the business card, not just handing it out. I want you to tally how many phone calls you make a week or a day for prospects or even for events. That's super encouraging to say, I made 15 phone calls to book myself solid, okay? Or tally how many emails for ordering or customer service or sales focused. Did you catch that? So if you're ordering something, ordering a supply, if it's an email for customer service, or it's an email that's sales focused, this will tell you if you are spending too much time on those things and which position to hire next. If you discover you send 30 supply emails saying, I need this and I need this, you may need an assistant. Or if you send 50 sales focused and you don't enjoy it, maybe you need a sales rep. Or if you're responding to 30 different customer care emails, maybe you need a customer service rep or an assistant for that. Those are a really good metric to tally during the week to find out where you're spending your time. And if you do in fact enjoy it, keep it up. Or if you need help, that may be where you need to hire. You can tally Facebook post, Instagram post, or whatever platform you're using, and then figure out on the weeks you do tally those. If you get up to 10, was your reach up or down? Was it better when you had fewer? This one is a little bit trickier to tally, but it will kind of give you some data on what is working and what isn't working. And it's super cheap, you guys. It's a pencil mark and a slash. It'll work great to give you some metrics to measure by. So sometimes when I'm at a show, I see a trend happening with the customer. So I start tallying how many times the customer looks straight at me and asks where the bathroom is, instead of even looking at the purses. So then it makes me think, do I need a new booth location? So if you start recognizing a pattern, it may be something you want to start tallying. So look for patterns in your everyday and start tallying them, because it could tell you a truth or a pattern or some data that you may be able to make some changes from. So I also tally how many times I overhear customers saying, where should we start? Because that tells me maybe the show is not laid out that well. So I start tallying that, or again, I don't have the right booth location. I also start tallying when I see them ask me questions for my own personal business, saying like, do you have any fanny packs? Or, which by the way, I do now. It's called the Brittany. It's adorable. Or, do you have any crossbody bags? Well, yes, I have tons of those, but I start tallying remarks that are new and figuring out a pattern and a trend that I may have just missed. I'm human too. So I may have missed a trend that's coming up, and I tally how many times I hear it to help educate me. Is it something that I do need to introduce or address? Also, tally how many times you feel anxiety. Recognize where it's happening in your body. Do you feel anxiety when you're emailing? Or is it when you're making something? Or is it when you're servicing something? Is there a pattern where it's just the driving? Figure out where you're experiencing anxiety, especially where in your body you're feeling it. Because sometimes when we get really overwhelmed, we say, I hate my job, I'm quitting, I don't want anything to do with it. But what if that wasn't the extreme you needed to go to? It was just that one certain product or that one customer or that one company that caused you to say, I hate the whole thing, but it's just one of those. So notice in your body where it's happening and then ask yourself, is this related to just this one thing in this moment? Because it's a great one for measuring whether to let go of something or even someone. It's a great tally mark, a little bit more cumbersome to tally, but in the moment, I do want you to write some of those thoughts and some of those tally marks. Like, is my anxiety flaring right now? Do I feel my heart rate racing? Do I feel my chest tightening up? Do I feel my head getting hot? Take a tally of when those are happening and what you are doing. I also tally how many emails I get from a show because it helps me know if the show is worth returning to. Like, are there good customers within my target market that like my stuff enough that they wanted to sign up for my email list? That helps me know if I should return to the show or not. So, I could go on and on about why the tally mark is just so effective. It is so good and it's so simple and so cheap and so encouraging. It's the easiest way to collect data and learn from your own viewpoints. And it can be very encouraging to keep marking those tiny little tallies. Something inside of me just totally surges when I get to make the slash mark and when I keep tallying these little tiny things every single week. I mean, I crave it because it's just such a doing part of my life. I love to just do, and it just helps me see exactly what's working and exactly what isn't working. And it's such cheap data that I can learn from. Tallies also serve as proof to yourself something is or isn't working. So you can tell your team or yourself, I decided to tally our t-shirt sales and we sold so many on this day. Why is that? Did someone post something about that? Was that something I had in a video? Can we try and track down what it is working? It's just data analysis, but in a simple way, just in a tally mark. Tallying will allow you energy, encouragement, and the data you are seeking. Thank you, Lindsay Prunty, for giving me this review on the podcast. It's just a simple way to encourage me to keep on going. So if you could rate and review me, that would just be awesome, encouragers. And I really appreciate what Lindsay had to say here. She said, as a wife and business owner, Rebecca speaks to me on so many levels. Between her solid faith and devotion and her dedication to our family and her business, she easily inspires. She is always so honest and upbeat. What more could you ask for from a podcast? Thank you, Lindsay, for saying this. So encouragers, take 5 to 10 minutes and just jot down some ideas of products or concepts or services you would like to tally and then do it. Until next time, encouragers, we got this. I know how you can start executing on all the things that God has equipped you to do. You can pick up my book at theencouragerpodcast.com and check out the store complete with book, journal, and the master course. Also, make sure to check out the resources tab where you'll get a hold of all the PDFs from the podcast. Thank you for tuning in, encouragers. Remember to subscribe so it's automatically on your phone. And please rate and review me. We got this, encouragers.